The Wally Show podcast is our daily radio show heard live through the WayFM app each morning and hosted by Wally, Gavin, and me, Betty Rock. For more fun, be sure to connect with us at wayfm.com/Wally.
The Wally Show podcast is brought to you by Colorado Christian University Online, where you can earn a degree online just like Betty Rock. You can learn more at ccu.edu/Wally. Things you didn't know you needed to know today. It's News-ish with Betty.
Pick the topic, and 9 times out of 10, Wally has an opinion to share about it.
No, only 9?
And that's the case for this expensive wedding.
Oh, you love an expensive wedding.
No, not anymore, especially if I'm going to have to pay for one. I want it cheap.
Well, wedding planners were asked, after all the weddings they've been a part of, what did they consider a waste of money? And here are a few of the things that they listed.
I would say most things at a wedding are a waste of money,
well,
honestly.
I know you do, like the swans and all that. But
no, the dinner.
No, food is so expensive.
You have one child,
yes.
a daughter.
Yes.
And if she were to come to you crying and say, but Daddy,
yeah.
I need these swans.
Yeah.
They depict our love.
Okay, here's what I would do. Because I'm very wise like Solomon, I would say, yeah, you know what, honey? Yes, we can do the swans, but we're having swan for dinner.
Oh.
So they would run the swans out, have the great moment, and then we would repurpose them. Yes.
Okay. Well, here are the things that are...
So you might want to have cows instead.
Oh, my goodness. So here are a few of the things that wedding planners say are a waste of money. Wedding favors with the couple's name on it.
Yes.
You might be thinking that other people will use it. They won't. They don't care. So just don't bother. Another one is lots and lots of real flowers. I know you might want the smell. I get it. But according to these wedding planners, fake flowers have come a long way. And so maybe you might not have the smell, but they are a lot cheaper.
My nephew and his wife were doing fake flowers, and they were at a venue where the people the day before had used real flowers, and they left all their real flowers up this banister. So we used that, and we added the colors from her fake flowers in with it. Yeah. Gorgeous.
Hobby Lobby has good stuff.
Yeah, that family wasted so much money on those flowers, though, because they literally were going to throw them away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then finally, elaborate centerpieces.
Yes.
Tell me with the last wedding that you went to, what did the centerpieces look like?
I couldn't, and I was just at one.
Right.
Like,
you
I don't
can't
know.
tell me. But the wedding planner has to go through all of this turmoil to try and get the perfect centerpiece that the wedding, that the bride has envisioned, but no one remembers. The guests never remember.
And I always hate the centerpieces that are giant and you can't see the person across from you that you want to talk to. You end up moving the centerpiece out of the way, and it defeats the entire purpose. I will say that 98.7% of what happens at a wedding is useless.
You can say everything you want, but your daughter is going to be like, but Daddy!
I know. I'm not looking forward to this, man. Maybe she'll stay single. Maybe we'll go with that. When Solomon was asked by God, what would you like? Anything, you can ask it and it's yours. And he asked for wisdom. That shows you that he was smart. Did you need wisdom? You could have used $1 million, but I guess he got that because he got wisdom. I don't know. But I'm not the wisest person, on the planet.
What?
I know, right? You would think. Thank you for that. This new version of you is great.
Brand new information.
Love this. And so, being wise, I think, is something that we lack common sense in this world. It's obvious. You look at the government and you go, what is going on? And so I think wisdom is a very important trait to have, or something that maybe you develop as well.
Well, and two, people were asked, all around the world, what does it mean to you to have wisdom? What does that look like? And all of us agree that it comes down to 2 things. If you have these 2 things, it means you're wise.
Oh, good. I can't wait because I probably have none of them.
Those 2 things are reflective orientation.
Yes.
And socio-emotional awareness.
What if you're 50% wise?
So if you have no idea what that means, reflective orientation, it means you think logically, control your emotions, reflect on things, and apply knowledge in a useful way. Now, socio-emotional awareness, that means you care about other people's feelings, you have good intentions, and you're mindful of how you interact in social settings.
You know what? Wisdom's not all that great. When you get down to it, it's more of a burden than it is a blessing. So, yeah, I'm going to not be as wise.
But I think as adults, we let pride get in the way, and pride can definitely be a downfall of wisdom.
Part of emotional intelligence is knowing that about yourself and then knowing how to curtail it, and that factors into wisdom. If you know you have an issue with something, you have to be honest with yourself about it so that you can then, in essence, manage yourself or manipulate your own actions and behaviors in situations.
But sometimes wisdom comes from the most unlikely places.
That's the thing I love, man. Like, kids are wise beyond their years so many times. Like, when you talk to them, they'll say some things that you're like, what in the world? I know my daughter has surprised me when she was little a few times with her wisdom. And so that's kind of what I want to talk about, okay? I'm really curious about what is a time that your child surprised you with something that was wise beyond their years? You're like, man, that is really good. That's good for you. And sometimes they even say things that, land with you as an adult and help you out. That happened with my daughter. She was 8 and starting school at a new school, and they had to fill out all these things about themselves and the questions, and she did all this stuff about how Jesus is her savior in the first box and everything, and went on and then had this other thing about the plan of salvation in this latter box, and I'm like, oh my gosh, she's starting a new school and she's gonna get ostracized, and I'm having all these fears for her as a father. And I told her, I said, well, why don't we leave the first stuff here? That's great, I love that, you love Jesus, that's great. Don't be ashamed of that. And I'm like, this other stuff where it gets a little deeper, why don't we change some of that around? And she literally looks at me and goes, but Dad, if we don't tell them, how will they know? I'm like, oh, wow.
Drop.
I know. I'm like, you are so wise. I'm like, absolutely. You are 1,000,000,000% right. Don't touch a thing. But I learned
and
something.
Are you my child?
Exactly. But I learned something from her that day, because she was wiser than me. So if you ever had that moment with your kid, 855-33-WAY-FM. That's 855-33-WAY-FM. We'll take your kid's wisdom right now. What was that for you?
Well, my son Nathaniel, who's having his 10th birthday today, when he was 3 years old, we went to the beach. We live in Tennessee. We went to the beach in North Carolina. It was like a 12-hour drive home. At the time, I think we had 4 kids, and there was just a lot going on that day. And I was just stressed out, driving in the minivan with the kids all day long. And I sat down, and I really felt like I was about to cry. Just was so stressed out. And Nathaniel, 3 years old, looks at me, and he goes, Daddy, you will sleep, and tomorrow you will feel better. And I just thought, that was so great. So that was the wisdom that my son gave me.
Why was that so great for you?
I was just consumed with, unpacking the car and the kids and everything, and it was just kind of like simple.
That's the cool thing. I think God gave us like this natural reset, with night and day, when he created all this stuff. And I'm sure he thought of all this. But like at the end of our day, it's like, okay, I'm exhausted, worn out. I'm going to reset and all things are new tomorrow, And so your son at 3 years old already had an idea of that concept, which is really cool.
Yeah, it was pretty amazing.
And sometimes I need that reset in the middle of the day.
You take it during the middle of the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was the time that your kid's wisdom surprised you?
Well, these are my grandchildren, and I went through a really bad divorce for about a year, okay? It was over and done with. And one day in the car trying to explain to my grandkids, because they would ask questions about him, and I said to my oldest granddaughter, she's 10, and I said, I just wish I could erase the last year and a half. And she very quickly looked at me and said, but Granda, what would that do to us?
Oh, wow. That is pretty interesting, because you're thinking isolated of that one rough moment and that one part of your life, and the kid is thinking the whole life would be erased.
Right. And I said, thank you so much for reminding me that I would never want to erase anything with you all.
Betty's love of crime shows has me concerned because I think that she's not learning how to protect herself, but rather how to set me up for a crime.
Oh, I for sure am.
It's a Gone Girl situation is what I'm thinking.
I'm glad I've got you right where I want you.
Yeah, that's what I feel like. You need someone in your life that will set you up for success, not failure.
Yeah, and that's exactly how I felt with CCU. I mean, I felt intimidated considering going back to school as an adult after being out for so long, but I was set up for success with CCU from my first conversation all the way to graduation. Most classes are only 5 weeks long, which means you can earn your degree and still have time to do whatever you want.
Yeah, 5-week classes, that's even good for people with like ADHD. Like for me, I know I needed short classes so I could focus when I went back to school because Betty Rock and I kind of lived the same life.
Find out more about how you can pursue your passion and find your calling with Colorado Christian University at online.ccu.edu. Colorado Christian University is a nonprofit impact partner.
If you want something that feels different from the regular news, we've got you covered. It's News-ish on The Wally Show.
So the Mayo Clinic recommends that you have a max of 2 hours of screen time for both teens and adults. Gavin and Betty, I'd love for you to pull out your phones real quickly and look at your screen time.
Screen time for how
For
long?
yesterday. Look at yesterday's screen time.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was Tuesday. So what do you have?
Okay, my average.
Yeah, what's your daily average?
2 hours and 29 minutes.
That's
my goodness,
impossible.
That's insane.
What's yours, Gavin?
Oh, my daily average is 3 hours and 26 minutes.
That's impossible.
You're going to be over 5 or 6.
That is impossible.
What is yours?
It's gonna
My
be double
daily
ours.
average is 7 hours and 41 minutes.
You're like a kid.
I don't know. I'm a teenager.
Oh my gosh.
That's a lot of time.
That is crazy.
That is all
do
the
you think?
time you have once you leave work. You
Yeah.
told me you're working more when you go home.
I am working at home.
No, you're not.
I'm getting TikTok videos from different pastors that were playing on the show. This stuff takes time.
Yeah, sure.
I
7
don't know.
hours
in,
worth.
In fairness, within this room, we
Yeah.
work on our laptops. You don't have the courtesy
Right.
of having a laptop in here because you're running a board.
Right.
So you are on your phone.
Thank you, Gavin.
more than us during the
Gavin,
show.
come on.
I love Gavin.
I have his back.
He's so good at this. Yeah, so apparently I am the biggest offender here. They say that, again, 2 hours max.
Max.
And
What?
kids need
so you're
you to
5 hours exceeding.
Yeah, kids need to set a good. Kids need you to set a good example for them. I know. I can't tell my daughter don't be on your phone. I can't. It can't be I do as I say, not as I do situation. They showed that most Americans though clock in at 10 to 11 hours per day. So I'm under the average. Which is pretty good. I feel good about that.
Congratulations.
I feel good about that. Problems.
There's no way people can spend 10 to 12 to 11 hours on their phone.
Well, phone
A
or
day?
screen time. The screen time is your phone, watching TV, things like that.
Okay.
Because really, I mean, you think about it. You binge watch 2 shows. There's 2 hours. Something. The problems with screens, with kids on screens too much. There's a couple things. One, life imitates art. So the more stuff they see, kids replicate that stuff, and so they see bad things or dumb trends and they try to get on that stuff and sometimes they
like
get
what
hurt.
you want to do.
Yeah, exactly. Excessive screen time leads to stunted cognitive and language skills.
That's happening to you too.
I wouldn't have thought that though. Like I would think you would learn more. Like if you're watching more things where people are talking, you would learn more language.
Yeah,
you
but
know?
you're not actually doing it.
Yeah, I don't know.
You're not talking to
most
people.
of my vocabulary came from TV, honestly.
I know words.
I do know words. Excessive screen time leads also to a physical thing called text neck.
Text neck. What
Text
does that
neck.
mean?
Like you're looking
Your
down
neck
and
is
scrolling
bent.
all the time.
Hey,
and
my
so
chiropractor talked to me about that.
you have text neck.
Well, she said that I did, but
Yeah.
I was like, honestly, it's not that. It's because I'm hunched over my puzzling. So I like to puzzle.
Yeah.
And I hunch over that. And so I look down at the puzzle instead of looking down at my
Same
phone.
type thing. You're spending like some people have screen time. You have puzzle time. Too much puzzle time. You need to mitigate that.
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Thank you, Kettle.
Yeah, so as a parent, what do you do? Encourage healthy personal relationships with kids because that's one of the things that they miss out on a lot inside of, being on their phones and social media and stuff. So look for and encourage that. Find ways for them to interact with other people. Sign them up for Taekwondo class, or whatever. Set reasonable limits with like a starting scale that's not all or nothing kind of thing. Like if your kid's spending 7 hours and you go to 2, they're going to lose their mind. So like take steps down,
Okay.
and let them
Gradual.
know. Be honest, this is
It's
what
like
we're
an
going to do.
addiction.
Exactly. It kind of is. And stay the course. Don't let your kids guilt you into being less stringent with it and less strict with it, because that only hurts them ultimately. So there you go. Some advice to help your kid, and I will take all of that advice to heart for myself.
Want a paternity test?
Yes, that's a great idea.
We're going over tips for first-time dads.
Gavin is our first-time dad on the show, and so we thought after a month of life, we should give him a paternity test to test his ability to raise his child because he was on paternity leave. So a paternity test in this instance seems to make sense. Okay.
Okay.
And so, Gavin, I'm going to give you a couple questions, and then we're going to ask other people for their questions as well.
And what if I get these wrong?
You lose your baby.
Oh.
So, yeah. I have Child Protective Services listening. Okay. We'll start off easy, okay? To swaddle your baby, do you lay it face down or face up?
Okay. Face up.
Good. You're doing great.
Yeah, because it would smother.
That's
face down.
obvious. You're doing great.
I'm glad to hear that.
How many times a week should you bathe your baby?
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Did they tell you that in the
They
hospital?
didn't give us that as an exact number, but we've probably bathed them every 2 or 3 days, so about twice a week.
Twice a week. Okay. Well,
it's not every day.
It's not every day, no, because every day would dry out their little skin. Did you know that?
I do know that. We use...
You got it right. 2 to 3 times a week, they say, is pretty good on average there. Okay, here we go. Why should you shift your baby's head night to night from left to right?
What? Like during the night, I should
be... each night, like on Monday, you have them on their left side with their head on their left, and on Tuesday, you put their head to the right. Why do you do that?
Oh, so obvious. It's obvious.
To help with their neck muscles and neck strength.
Okay.
Kind of, sort of.
Betty Lou, what do you think?
It's because their skulls have not developed fully yet.
Yes.
They're soft. And so if they lay on one side, it'll cave.
Yes, they get a flat head.
So you want them to have a round head.
What are we talking about?
I know.
That sounds fake.
No, it's real.
When I worked at the daycare, I used to have a little kid in my class that he had to wear a helmet because there was one side of his neck muscles that wasn't developing right. So he always tended to lean on one side. And he was starting to get a flat head.
I've been thinking that Bennett's right side of his face looks weird.
That's why you've been laying him on the... Thank goodness we did this now. Can you imagine if you had let this go another couple months?
Right.
So,
bad
You'd be
dad
Flathead
Benny. Nobody needs that nickname. Okay, so that's a couple questions. I've got a few more for you, and then we'll open it up, too, for people to call and ask you questions to see if you know this. Maybe it's something they've just walked through or they just know as a parent, and you want to ask Gavin some questions to see what level he's at with his paternity test today. You can do that 855-33-WAY-FM. That's the number, 855-33-WAY-FM.
Want a paternity test?
Yes, that's a great idea.
We're going over tips for first-time dads.
Fresh off of paternity leave, Gavin is back, so we thought we would test him to see how well he's doing at being a father with a different version of the paternity test. This isn't Maury Povich, okay? So, we're asking him questions to see if he knows what he's doing. For example, do you need to pre-burp your baby before feeding?
No. Whoa.
Wow.
Whoa.
He already missed. You got to move their head from side to side each night.
Don't.
Yeah, you do. They say experts say yes, pre-burp your baby because gas gets in the stomach and it makes it worse. So if you pre-burp them a little bit, then feed them, you're going to have a better time of it. This is going to make your life better.
I had learned to try and kind of do a little suction out their nose and clear their nose and their airway for when you feed them, but I didn't know about the burping thing.
Okay, yeah. So a little pre-burp there. If your baby is younger than 3 months and develops a fever of 100.4 or higher, you should A, monitor for 4 hours, B, put Pedialyte in their formula, or C, call your pediatrician immediately?
I mean, I will call the pediatrician immediately.
Okay.
What if it's midnight?
I will call
urgent care.
Urgent care,
Yeah,
probably.
You're absolutely right.
That's
Fevers are serious for newborns, and so they always say err on the side of caution.
Yeah, it's interesting too because you are taught to swaddle them in rooms where they're like, oh, he should have an extra layer compared to you. So you wrap him up, and I'm like, he always feels so warm. And then I put a little thing under his arm, and he's always a perfectly good 98.6. So.
Okay. True or false? Pediatricians recommend taking your newborn into crowded places like a Chewy's in their first 3 months of life to build up their immunity. There's a photo of that, of Gavin taking his newborn. How old was Bennett? 2 days old?
5 days old.
5 days old, hanging out at a Chewy's, eating chips and dip.
Yeah, I got a little dip on him.
True or false? Should you take your kid out?
It's probably false.
Yeah.
Because he's...
That's right. You should not take your kid out.
That's tough.
In crowds that early.
He's done, he's done 4 or 5 restaurants.
Oh my gosh.
He's gone to the mall.
You know what, dude? I'm going to tell you, I think we bubble wrap our kids.
I'm not doing that.
And I don't know that this is the best idea, but I think that's good. I actually think it's good. You want your kid to work into your schedule.
Yeah.
The quicker, the better.
I took him to the golf course already.
Did you really?
So, yeah.
What'd you do?
No, my wife had him.
Oh, okay. I was like, did you put him in a thing next to the how'd you put him in the cart?
I am processing how I'm going to do that someday.
Oh, that is great. Wow. Okay, and here finally, what is the rule for how to dress your baby for the weather? A, treat it like a Progressive car insurance commercial and bundle. B, dress him like you're dressing. Or C, they get so hot, dress them like they're on Baywatch.
No, it's bundle. You have to do an extra layer compared to you. So if I'm in the room with a shorts and a t-shirt, then I put him in like a onesie where everything's covered.
Well, there you go. No, the experts say dress them like you're dressing. If you're cold, dress them like you're dressing.
You must be reading 10 years ago experts.
Oh, okay, sure.
I had doctors in the hospital telling me.
That's true. I mean, your baby, Wally, is 25.
Yeah.
And his baby is maybe 5 days old.
But,
so,
I know.
But your baby is okay.
My baby's doing great.
Exactly.
So I must know something. All right.
Interesting.
I want to play a clip of audio for you and for other people here, and we'll do this in 10 minutes. It's from a comedian, Nate Bargatze, but we've talked about all these things you should know. This is the most important thing that you should know that they tell you a lot of at the hospital before you take your baby home. We'll do that in 10 on The Wally Show.
Want a paternity test?
Yes, that's a great idea.
We're going over tips for first-time dads.
Gavin is back from paternity leave. He had a baby boy, if you didn't know, named Bennett. And it's been a month now.
Yeah.
Betty was just asking you kind of off the air if that time has gone by fast for you.
In retrospect, it's crazy that it's been a month, but I'll tell you what, the days are long. They are long. It's a lot of a 3-hour cycle of feed, sleep, number 2, and all over again.
When they go to bed, like especially when they start sleeping through the night, and they go to bed like at 7, your life is like, oh, it's so good.
I
like
can't wait.
you look forward to that time, but then you got to go to bed so early. You're like, oh, I get an hour or 2 hours.
I'll figure it out.
Yeah. So it's not easy, and so we've been testing Gavin's skill on being a first-time dad with our paternity test here, and so you did really well. You only missed a couple questions. One that could give your kid a flat head, but now you know, and so that won't happen. But I am curious. Did they tell you in the hospital? Did they tell you anything about shaking your baby?
So they did not.
They did not.
And I assume it's because I should assume not to do that. I think
one would think.
You'd think that. I think they think we know what we're doing about not shaking a kid.
I don't know. Maybe it's old school. Maybe because I mean they used to have pamphlets and stuff they would give you at the hospital and everything. And so comedian Nate Bargatze, who I'm a big fan of on the show, actually this might help you out, Gavin, because he has been through a very similar situation.
The biggest message they tell you at the hospital, the number one, they're like, all right, whatever you do, let's just try not to shake this baby. That's literally like the number one goal. And they tell it to you, they're like, obviously you're going to want to shake the baby. But, yeah, I mean, it would be so awesome if you just did not shake this baby. Then I signed a certificate like I was in kindergarten that said, all right, like I promise I won't shake the baby. Like, quit asking me. I've never heard the word shake so much in my entire life. That's all we talked about. The first night we got her home, she was like crying for like 6 hours. You're just like confused. We're delirious, you know? And I was like sitting there and I was like, wait, are we supposed to shake this baby? Is this when we do it? This seems like when you should do it. We didn't shake her, so it's all right. You guys don't have to call somebody. We have rocked her aggressively, but there's a pretty big difference.
It's today's Music Insider with Gavin.
TMI, my friends.
So I became a new parent just under a month ago, and every once in a while I like to play music to calm my son Bennett down. I have turned WayFM on for him to listen to. It's a good move on my part, I think, from a job standpoint.
Yeah, that way he can listen to your voice too.
I know, and hopefully like it. But I also will play music.
I'll try to say nice things about you.
Please do.
Your dad's amazing, Bennett. He's amazing when he's not being dumb. No.
Okay. But I also play a lot of music playlists for him, and I think he's actually taken a big liking to Mr. Brandon Lake.
I'll praise you anywhere. Praise, give him praise, give him praise.
We always talk about how important it is to get these songs into your kids' souls early on. I mean, like, because this is the word of God, the truth of God. And so the fact that you're starting this, I mean, at a month old is a really healthy thing for him.
I agree. And speaking of parenting, I loved Brandon Lake. He actually posted on his Instagram page. He is a father of a couple of young kids. He actually posted a video talking about how he wanted to raise his kids in their faith.
I want them to see the atmosphere of faith, not just get preached at. I feel like what's more important for me to raise my kids at this age is for them to see it demonstrated. There's moments where we have fun doing very practical things of memorizing scripture, but like, I think one of the best things I could do is just raising them in an atmosphere where they catch daddy and mommy praying over another couple because they're going through a hard season. We've wanted our house to feel as much like church as where we attend on Sunday.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, because if the only God they get is on Sunday, it's not going to take. Or they're going to see kind of the hypocrisy in it, you know, if it's like, well, why don't you do these things the rest of the time? So, I mean, the best way you can lead your kids is by example. You want generous kids, be generous.
I want Bennett to say, like, I want to be like my dad someday.
Yes.
Not from a height standpoint.
Yeah, why would you do that?
Tiny bladder.
Acid reflux. There's a lot of things I don't want to. Yeah, tool using.
You know what? If he said, look, I would consider it a win for you if he goes, I want to be like Uncle Wally. Like, that's fine. One thing we all have in common is we gotta go to work, and you want to be friends with the people that you work with because you spend so much time here. Hey, it's the Wally Show on Uplifting WayFM. Why did that elicit a smile and a smirk and a laugh?
We're friends here.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Wow. Cut to the quick.
Said
My goodness.
No, it's how you said it. Yeah, sure we are.
You didn't say, with, you know, like, your voice didn't hug me. It was, it
Yeah.
was cruel.
Yeah, it was kind of like when you're in high school and the good-looking girl lets you kind of sit near them at lunch and like associate a little bit with. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna look at your direction once during lunch, and then that's it. Okay, but that'll have to suffice. And you're like, oh, thank you so much.
But at least I would notice if y'all went missing, you know, and
would you?
Well, yeah.
Again,
if my check depends on it, yeah, I would. But this one guy in Colorado, he can't say the same. So his boss took him and his 14 other coworkers on a team building adventure. Okay, so they're going to hike up this mountain in Colorado.
Bosses love to do that stuff
team building.
Get a picture, and we're all doing it together.
Yeah. Well, eventually, the guy that's in the back, he kind of trails off, and his coworkers just kind of leave him, and he finds himself lost.
Sounds like his fault.
So he pins himself, like, you know, you can pin your location on your phone, and then he texted it to his coworkers, and they're like, dude, you're going the wrong way.
They're like, who's this?
So he gets turned around. He's now going the right way, but his coworkers left him on the mountain.
Every man for himself.
Yeah. Well, he loses contact on his phone. He's lost out in the woods, okay? His phone isn't working. A storm comes through, so he loses all like he can't get a hold of anybody. Okay,
Poor guy.
He's on his own on a mountaintop with a storm.
His coworkers decide after 5 hours of not seeing him, like maybe we should call someone.
Man, this is the worst team ever,
right?
for the record.
So they call these search and rescue guys, but because of the storm, they have to wait till the storm passes to find him. So they had to send up a drone. Eventually, the guy had been up there by himself for 24 hours, had fallen multiple times, couldn't walk anymore, and they were able to find him. But his coworkers left him. You never leave a man behind.
Even if I don't like you, I'm going to make sure you get off that mountain, properly.
Well,
that's
also,
teamwork.
Well, also, if the boss is with you, you would think that he would lead the way and say, if you want a team build, you can't leave Jenkins behind.
The boss didn't like Jenkins either, apparently.
I guess so.
Yeah, okay, so let's talk about this. Because, again, bosses love to do team-building exercises, and I think there's something to it. It can be a lot of fun, too, if you don't leave someone behind on a mountain. So, what is a time that you've had a team-building exercise go wrong? Maybe you're like, hey, we're going to take the team out. We're all going to go skating at the skating rink like when we were in high school, and then someone fell and broke their arm, or something like that.
Jenkins, not again.
It's always Jenkins. And so I'm just curious, have you ever had a team-building exercise mishap or something kind of go wrong with it, and it didn't end like everyone was hoping it would? 855-33-WAY-FM. That's 855-33-WAY-FM. If you were on that team that left the guy on the mountain and you have a different perspective, I'd love to hear your story.
Tell us what Jenkins did to deserve
exactly.
it.
855-33-WAY-FM. Have you ever been on a team-building exercise that went awry?
I have, actually. I worked at a local steakhouse here in Chattanooga, and I had a boss and a coworker that didn't tell me that they were putting up sandbags, to hold one of our tents down, and it was a veterans event. I walked backwards onto those sandbags and hit my head on the table and was knocked out completely.
Oh, wow.
When I came to, none of my coworkers were around me, only 2 Marines that happened to see it.
Oh, my word. That's terrible.
Did you ever bring it up with them and address it, or did you just pretend like it didn't happen either?
Oh, no. I addressed it when I was on my way to the ambulance.
that I had 2 men that could have helped me, yet they didn't step up.
Were you single at the time?
Yeah.
See?
Ooh,
you could have made that happen.
Movie.
Exactly. They might have did you a favor. Your 2 coworkers might have pushed you. They were trying to help you. She has trouble meeting men. I got an idea.
Yeah,
Jenkins, you're a genius. Michelle, did you have something happen to you?
Yes, I was team building near the beginning of a school year, and I got left behind by the whole group.
Oh.
But it turned out to be a blessing in disguise, because as I'm looking for this group that left me behind, I found another girl who had been left behind too.
Who was in charge?
I'm not really sure.
Well, no one.
Obviously. If I go on a team building exercise, I want to know who's in charge so that I can blame them for anything that goes wrong. While he's there, I don't care if he's in charge or not. I'm just going to blame him.
I might make things go wrong so that then I can rescue you and be an amateur first responder.
No.
Then I'll be the hero.
No, I'd rather go to heaven.
There's an app for that.
There are apps for just about everything, but you can't know them all. It's impossible. I mean, you try to go through the app store just randomly looking for things. Like, oh, that'd be kind of fun. It's better when someone's like, hey, I've got an app, and it works great for this. And so that's why we do What's Appening. So Betty Lou, do you have an app for us today?
I do, and this is exciting because I think it's something that will resonate with boomers, Gen Xers, and probably now millennials.
Wow.
As we get older, for some reason, we start to notice birds, and we get excited. Like, for instance, Wally, at 56 years old, and it makes sense. Oh, there's a bird right now.
Yeah.
Oh,
Where's him?
beautiful.
It's delightful.
But at 56 years old, he's got an owl.
It's a scary bird.
He's got a folder in his phone that's dedicated just to photos of the camera in his bird feeder. And it takes pictures of these birds, and he gets excited. He's like, oh, look, the cardinal came back.
Okay, let me just, a couple things. My wife wanted a bird feeder with a camera.
Blame it
she
on your
did,
wife.
and I got it for her. But then I started getting into it, but I don't like birds. Like, that's the weird thing. I really don't like birds. I would never want a bird as a pet. But Mr. Mr. Blue Jay, he's really cool. And Clarence Cardinal, like, I do like them. And so, yeah, like, you see them out on their little perch, and I started saving pictures of them, videos of them. Yes, I did.
Of course. Well, so you're going to be excited about this new app I found. It's called Merlin. Merlin.
Merlin.
And what it does is you can sit outside and it will listen to your surroundings. You hear a bird.
Yeah.
And it's going to say, that's a web-footed, red-breasted lake bloom. Yes.
I wonder what that is. It sounds crazy. Sounds like it might carry me away and eat me.
But it's so funny because I found this on TikTok, and there's a lot of people that are around my age or a little bit older or younger, and they're sitting out on their porch, and they get so excited because they're like, oh, that's a cardinal.
That's interesting because I've seen
dove.
the apps that, like, you can take a picture of somebody's outfit, or you could take a picture of some item, and it will, like a plant, and it will tell you what plant that is. But to audibly hear a bird and tell you what bird it is, that's kind of cool.
This is like Shazam for birds.
Yeah, that's exactly
taking a song.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's kind of cool.
But it's called Merlin.
Merlin.
Merlin. Look it up.
I might have to.
A lot of fun.
Don't download it.
Yeah, because there's a couple birds I don't know what they are.
Oh, but
like,
now you can.
I know, like I don't know,
Now
like
you can.
they'll show up, and now I could impress my wife and be like, "Oh, that's a hornbill." Something. I don't know.
Flabberduck.
Yeah, flabberduck. Yeah. So again, Merlin is the app. If you want to check it out, Betty Rock highly recommends it.
Growing up in poverty has never been easy for children, but with the added challenges of the pandemic, conflict, and natural disasters, families around the world are facing an unprecedented food crisis. Unfortunately, those who are already hungry are now even more desperate. But by sponsoring a child through compassion, you can help provide life-sustaining essentials such as food and clean water. And with your compassionate support, that child can not only survive, but also flourish. You can find out how and choose a child to sponsor when you click on the compassion banner at wayfm.com.
Uplifting Way FM. If it's trending, streaming, or starring, Betty Rock's got it on The Rock Report.
September 28th. You heard it here first.
What's the significance?
September 28th. Mark it down in your calendar because, according to one popular tabloid, they claim that they got a leaked photo of a breakup contract for Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce.
How? Wait, no.
A breakup.
No.
Yes. Oh, no. They got bad blood. So mark it down. Their breakup is supposed to happen September 28th.
Okay, like I know there are some relationships in Hollywood that have been manufactured over time. There is documented proof of some of these. This one feels too pure to me.
Too pure.
Amen. Amen. I'm too big of a believer.
The leaked contract was supposedly put together by Los Angeles PR firm, and it dictates the date of the breakup as well as how it will be managed, which will be, quote, gracious, respectful, and stress mutual respect.
There's no way this is real. There's no way. Like, how am I going to believe in love again?
Yeah. Don't hurt us.
Of course, keep in mind that this is all according to a tabloid magazine, so you have to take it all with a grain of salt. But the PR firm named by the tabloid, they are denying any such contract exists and is threatening to sue. But wouldn't that be what a guilty PR firm does?
Absolutely.
Threaten to sue and then they don't?
Tabloids get sued a lot, and so they actually have gotten better about sources and like not totally fabricating things. My guess is it is something that was written up. It's something that shows up, but it's not real. And so they're like, this came from your company. We know it was a joke or something inside, but
well, and also let me ask the sports guy here, not Wally, Gavin. So if they broke up on September 28th, is that bad for the NFL?
Well, I looked it up. So this would be happening before the fourth game of the season. So it'd be early. He'd have time to recover, or it would send him into oblivion for the whole season and ruin the Chiefs' season. This would be a day before a game.
And don't you know that if the Chiefs lost a game, Travis Kelce would not be to blame. They would be like, oh, he's a victim. But
they're
Taylor
Swift,
she'd be on the tail end of a hissy fit with all the NFL fans.
Right now you have NFL fans and Taylor Swift fans kind of combining, even though they don't want to. It's like an unwanted alliance. But the second there's a breakup, it's like you just split up the kids. And the NFL NFL fans are going to not
You gotta
like
pick a
Taylor,
side.
and Taylor fans are rabid about
There's going to
her.
be bad blood.
There will be bad blood for sure. There's no way this is true. But
September 28th.
I am marking my calendar.
Mark it down.
I have no idea what I'm doing, but I know I'm doing it really, really well.
I'm thinking about starting a side hustle, an amateur first responder school.
Oh, no.
Hey, it's the Wally Show on Uplifting Way FM. I fancy myself as someone who likes to get involved, insert myself into situations where I am or am not needed. And I like to help rescue people. I've been at the scenes of accidents before. I've held oxygen bottles on an airplane before for a lady and even offered her my medicine, which they turned down, which was a mistake because it would have helped her.
What?
Yeah.
No, what tells me is your amateur first responder school would be all misinformation, all bad
We'll see.
information.
I don't know about that. I'm pretty good at this.
What I like to do at this time is give you a life or death scenario, something that actually did happen.
Yes.
And thankfully where there is a survivor, no one is gone or perished. But I want to see how you would handle the situation. So this current situation is there was a man, a 32-year-old man and his dad, they went hunting in Alaska wildlife, okay? They're going through some tall brush. All of a sudden, a brown bear, they startle one. It had been sleeping in the grass, okay?
Yes.
They startle it. The bear rises up. He swipes at the son, the 32-year-old son.
Right.
And of course, you can imagine his claws go deep.
Oh,
Okay,
it
it's
got
already
him.
bad, okay?
Oof.
Now the bear runs off, okay? Now, thankfully, the man is alive, dad as well. But I want to hear how you would handle the situation from there to get your son, your hypothetical son, out alive.
Okay, two things. One, I would have let him bleed for a few minutes.
The son?
Yes.
Why?
I know it sounds crazy on the surface, but bears are attracted to that. They can smell blood from 300 miles away.
But don't you
just
want
a drop
him-
of it. Hold on. That's
Okay.
why I'm the amateur.
Okay.
You let him bleed a little bit there. Not enough to where he loses consciousness, but you let him bleed before you dress the wound, okay?
Okay.
Then you dress the wound, okay? And you stop the bleeding. Then you can walk away. The bear is going to be attracted to that one spot where you've left the blood and not follow you and track you through the rest of the underbrush, okay?
I see.
See how smart this is?
Yes.
Yes, and stuff. And you might have to carry him because he's going to be a little weaker, but...
The 32-year-old son.
Yes, and so, but you have actually saved his life by employing this amateur first responder
So
technique.
you're just going to carry him to the hospital?
That's what I'm going to try to do, yeah, and until it gets so bad, and then I'm like, son, you're learning a valuable life lesson here.
This is the reason you are an amateur first
Right.
responder. Let me tell you what the real dad did in this situation. Once his son was hurt by the bear, the bear runs off, the dad goes into action. He gets Quick Clot. He had that available. So it's like a gel that you put on top of the
use it later, though, after my part.
No, he did it immediately.
Rookie.
He clotted the wound.
Yeah, that's not
and
good.
then he used a tourniquet.
Yeah.
He had that with him. Okay,
Again,
ready
you do
to go.
all of that, but you do it later.
No, you do it immediately. So then he calls for help because he already had a GPS, they call it a Garmin InReach.
Yeah, so he couldn't do it himself then. He couldn't extract himself. He couldn't save himself or save his son himself. He had to call for help. Okay,
That
that's
is
fine.
not a
That's
sign
fine.
of weakness. That is
To some-
wisdom.
to some it is.
Anyways, he calls for help, but it takes an hour for the helicopter to get there.
Okay.
So what the dad does to help his son is he tells him hunting stories to
Oh.
help keep him calm and keep his mind off the pain. Thankfully, they were able to get him treated at the hospital. Everyone is well and good.
Well, that is not
How you
I
should
would have
handle
handled it.
No, how you should handle it.
And once my son, if I had to wait, once he was stopped bleeding and was away, I would employ the mother bird. Like he was safe. He was sitting there safe. I would employ the mother bird tactic, and that is where you pretend to have a broken wing and you walk out there so the predator comes after you, not after his son.
So then you're both injured.
Right, but I would be like, hey, bear. Hey, bear, you got to do
The
that.
news headline now says 2 men found.
Yeah. Hey, bear. Yeah, so that's what I would do.
This is why he's an amateur
Look,
first responder.
You do what you want to do, but I'm still alive. I've never been attacked by a bear. It seems to be working so far.
EA Sports. It's in the game.
Gavin is the sports guy here on the show, and so from time to time we like to find things that are sporty but not too sports oriented. So what do you got?
Yeah, because not everyone loves sports,
right?
But I'll tell you what everyone, hopefully loves is food.
Yes.
And so
I'm all in.
The football season, the NFL football season is about to kick off, and with that, somebody put together a list of the most interesting, over-the-top, big football stadium food that you can eat this year.
Because I think they try to go over the top too much sometimes and combine things that you don't need to combine. But maybe they'll have something that's really good. You're like, oh, I'm going to try and make that at home.
Yeah, this is like the why not recipe per se. So this is at the Dallas Cowboys Stadium. You can get the pizza burger. Very straightforward. A 16-ounce Angus burger.
Nice.
With 2 pepperoni slices as the buns.
Oh.
So we're talking about a heart attack here.
You know what, though? I mean, honestly, like, you get hamburger on, like, pizza. So, I mean, that might not be bad. Like, I like donuts on as buns on a hamburger. It's good.
It's also, if you were going to eat, let's say you're at the game for 3 or 4 hours. You're going to have a burger at one point. Right. 3 hours later, you're hungry and you're going to have pizza.
Yeah.
You may just have it all at once.
Do it all at one time.
Okay, next thing, this is at the Philadelphia Eagles Stadium. You can get cannoli nachos, which has chocolate, ricotta, strawberries, pistachio dust, and caramel. Makes this a disgustingly sweet meal.
Yeah, and I like sweet, but that doesn't sound good. I don't like cannolis, actually.
No, I don't either, but I don't know.
Holy cannoli.
Exactly.
I like saying it.
We're going to end with this. You did mention not being a fan of sweet, but I think that the average 8-year-old would find this to be a dream. This is the cotton candy burrito that you can get at the Arizona Cardinals Stadium. I'm just going to read out what's in
Okay,
this
please
thing.
tell me it's not actual burrito and cotton candy. Like, if it's like...
No. There's not,
you never know.
There's not like a tortilla.
Okay, thank you.
A traditional tortilla.
I
So
like
this
where you're
is
going then.
Ice cream, Fruity Pebbles,
Oh.
Skittles, M&Ms, and gummy bears wrapped in cotton candy.
Oh, my goodness.
That sounds like a blood sugar issue.
That is a 6-year-old to 56-year-old Wally dream. Honestly,
I would be down for that. That
you
sounds
would,
amazing.
because you hate sweet. You don't like things that are overly sweet, like me.
Probably like 2 bites would be my limit, but
Yeah.
I would want to try it.
Then I would definitely split it with you, because then we can split the cost, and because you know it'll be expensive.
Oh, all these for
but
sure.
then you're only going to take 2 bites, so then I'm good. I get
I'll
the rest
just pay
of it.
$1, and you pay the other $15.
Yeah, that's probably it too. I'd love to know the prices of these things, because I know they ain't cheap. But that's not a bad idea. So get yourself some cotton candy and make a bowl of that tonight. That's easy. That's doable. So there you go. That's your Yay Sports. Thank you, Gavin. Uplifting Way FM. This is the Wally Show, and we have a thing called a prayer wall where you can go and leave prayer requests, and whatever's on your mind, whatever's going on, if you want people to pray with you and for you, you can post that. And what's really cool about this is if you check a box that says I'd like to be notified, when people pray, they check a box that says, hey, I just prayed for this person, and you'll just get a notification. No personal information exchange, but it's just like a reminder that, oh, people are lifting you up. And I heard on average it's like 17 prayer requests for each prayer.
That's awesome.
Which is pretty great, and you don't feel alone that way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Mary, she recently posted it on our prayer wall. She said, my husband is back working. He had to take time off because he was having mental problems. But today is his first day back working, and things are not going great. Praying he can stay at work because of his mind problems, and I'm unable to work because of back problems. Oh. I'm praying I can find work because we need the money.
Oh, wow. That's a lot going on there, too.
Mm-hmm.
And those are the things, too, like a lot of times things happen in marriages that maybe when you got married, everything was normal and good and whatever. And then something happens sometimes and people change or things happen to them. And now all of a sudden you're like, wow, this is not what I signed up for.
Yeah, but in sickness and in health,
that's exactly
you say
it.
You got to stand by it.
That's exactly it. So you're like, how do we navigate this together? In some ways, there's things you can't heal somebody's mentality. You would in a second if you could. And the only thing you can do is pray that God will intervene and help and show, get the right people in your life or or, in the best case scenario, cure somebody of something, but when that doesn't happen, that other people are there, give you the strength and peace to deal with it.
But I'm thankful that Mary has the prayer wall that she can go to and she can ask for prayer. And the thing is, like Wally was saying, there's a good chance that her phone or her email will go off 17 times from people that are saying, hey, I'm praying for you. And that might just give her the encouragement that she needs to keep going. And it might help her husband too. You just never know. It could be where they can build each other up. So you can check out the prayer wall when you text the word pray to 91979. That's pray to 91979, and we will send you a link.
I saw that going differently in my mind.
Uplifting Way FM. This is the Wally Show with Mind Blown. Oh, he jumped the gun. He forgot. He's been gone for a while. He jumped the gun. You want to go? We want to try it again?
No.
Mind blown.
Scared?
Oh yeah, she probably couldn't do it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No, you're not going to move on.
Yeah.
Move on. I don't have to prove anything.
Okay.
Mind blown.
Mind blown? Sorry.
Go. Just go.
I thought we moved on.
No, we did not. Okay, so here's the deal. What we want to do is if you've ever felt like you are not interesting enough to hold a conversation.
I always go first.
You can actually use some of these.
I'm
trying to listen.
You can use
firstborn.
some of these tactics to then make yourself instantly the most interesting person in any room. So what I do is I ask Betty and Gavin to give me a topic, and I show you how this worked if we were just milling about talking. Let's start with you, Gavin.
No, I want to go first.
No, you're going to go second.
No, I want to go first.
No,
such an attention-seeking
can't go first this time. I know.
Okay, I will go first as the favorite.
Don't tell me.
So I'm a new dad. He's a month old, but I am genuinely thinking every time I drive past a school, I'm like, is Ben going to go to that school?
Yeah.
So do you have a kid school, elementary school, kid school fact?
Well, you might want to send your kid to Armenia if you want them to be really, really smart.
Yeah, do that. Move away.
Not.
Because children in Armenia are required to learn this in school. What do you think this is, Gavin?
Ninja skills?
That would be great, but no.
Cooking.
Also good, but no.
Sleeping.
No, it's something to help your mind.
Meditation?
Psychology.
Oh, both of those good. No, actually, see, this is how you do this. You ask a question, and you get people to guess and talk to you. No, chess. They're required to learn chess.
Okay.
No.
I like that.
Chess teaches you how to problem solve, and it teaches you to think ahead.
Do you know how to play chess?
No, but checkers teaches you a little less than that.
Checkers is the poor man's game.
It is the only country in the world where chess is mandatory as a school criteria. So, Betty Rock, what do you got?
Oh, it's my turn now?
Yeah, finally.
You know I am always down for a good crime show.
I know you are.
A crime podcast, like true crime, I'm there.
Crazy to me that you watch these alone at night.
It's so dumb. It's like a chicken watching chicken nuggets baking the oven.
Yeah, exactly.
It just doesn't make sense. But here I am as the chicken.
So you want to know something about crime shows?
Yeah.
Okay. Hang on, I'm thinking of stuff that I've seen lately. Oh, I got one. Did you know that there are 532 people on the FBI's 10 most wanted list? Okay.
Yeah.
Wait. 10 most wanted.
Yeah.
That math is looking
But there have been 532 over the course of time.
Uh-huh.
494 of them have been caught.
Oh no!
So that's good. That's way more than half.
What does that mean? How many? I can't
That means
do the math.
38 have never been found.
38.
They're just out there.
38 never been found. And I did a little bit of digging.
Yeah.
7 are in Tennessee.
No!
Sweet dreams, Betty Rock.
Well, that's the end, but it doesn't have to be. Check out our Aftercast. It's new stuff you didn't hear in the podcast. Be sure to rate us on iTunes as well as connect with us on social media. Just search Wally Show. And if you'd like to join our Facebook group made exclusively for you potties, the link is in the description of this podcast. Thanks to Colorado Christian University Online for supporting what we do.